donuts, Oreos are my go-to for my little treats.
Wow.
Again, I'm working out all the time.
How often do you eat Oreos, so really?
Honestly, every day.
That is hard. That is hard. We're sitting and talking about health and physical fitness and stuff. And I've heard you talk about this, which you're more of a mental athlete than a physical athlete. Although
100%.
you do incredible physical stuff. But so the thing that I'd like to get to is, how did you injure yourself? Because I don't want people to think that exercise and working out is dangerous. You're a daredevil.
I am.
So you do pretty wild stuff. So how did you sustain some of these injuries?
Well, so some were growing up younger, and I have two older brothers who dared me to do anything, and I was always down. But getting into the sport, I like to constantly up my game. I always, when I'm doing competition, I do fitness routines where we get on stage and we have 2 minutes to truly do whatever we want. Gymnastics, dance, push-ups, crazy skills, acrobatics. I do a lot of breakdancing and b-boy stuff, but I have no formal training in any of it. So I have no gymnastics background. I'm self-taught and I watch a lot of YouTube. So that's where sometimes injuries have happened, and also just earlier in my career, overtraining, not properly doing some of the body work necessary to keep your body agile. And of course, some of the injuries I sustained, I didn't rehab properly. So I've learned a lot through all of this. But again, I love what I do, and I don't like to live in this mediocre lifestyle. So if I'm loving it and enjoying it, you got to take risks, honestly. Right. That's what I do in business. That's what I do as an athlete. So it comes with the sport that I'm in. Injuries happen, but there's always a way around it. Injuries are temporary. And if you have the right mindset, it's not really a setback. It literally helps teach you what you're capable of, because it forces you to think out of the box. So for example, I've had knee injuries. And how do you do a whole 2-minute routine when you have a blown ACL and MCL? Well, I have an upper body and I've got 2 good arms, so I wasn't necessarily jumping as high, even though I did jumps. They were all one-legged.
Right.
Nobody knew I had the injury because I kept it on the DL, but there's always a way around it. And with every injury I've had, I continue competing. I find a way to work around it and work with what works. So it's the same thing that you can implement in life, in business. Don't focus on what's not working, focus on what is working, and there's always an option.
What are some of the winning formulas that are fundamental to Whitney's success in life? And then let's talk about some of the things that you have found have caused you to fail, or that you regret, or anything, because I'd love for you to be able to distill to the people that are watching this, here's what works, and then here's things that didn't work for me. And it may not work for everyone, so I want you to take what she says here, and I almost treat it like a 12-step group. Take what you like and leave the rest.
Yeah.
Apply. So what are some of the fundamentals that have allowed you to be successful?
Well, I always think you've got to set your goals so high that people think you're crazy. When you tell somebody, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to achieve, the reaction they give you, if they think you're crazy, then you know you're onto something. Because that means you're setting your goals high enough that it's going to take some work. But you also, in that process of getting to your goal, you have to truly believe that you can achieve it. You have to believe you're worthy of it. And you have to know that you're going to put forth all the effort. It doesn't just happen. So your expectations have to match the reality. Like, if you're not putting in all the work, you can't expect to achieve it. You can't expect to, in my situation, win if I'm not putting in all this hard work.
Right.
So that's been something that's been a secret to my success. I will never be outworked. I never want somebody to think that they've worked harder than me, or me step on stage and know, oh, I should have done more, I could have done more. I do the best I can and hope for the best outcome. Yeah. But so much of it is with mindset. If you're not believing in yourself, when I go to a competition, I visualize the moment that they're going to announce me as the winner. That helps put me in the place that I'm going to achieve that. I'm going to get there. Because if you don't see yourself as the champion, then you don't deserve to be the champion. You've got to believe it. You've got to act as if. And for me, going into that, or even opening up my different businesses, I don't worry about all the ways I could fail, because that's the energy I'm putting out there.
Interesting.
So if I'm focused on all the things that could happen, and again, being realistic, I'm not gonna hit 100,000 gross revenue within the first month, come on. But you be realistic about it, And it's just that whole process of knowing, okay, I can achieve it, and focus on what you want to happen, and make sure you've outlined the steps to get there. So for me, that's what's really helped me as an athlete, as a businesswoman, to achieve the things. And honestly, even 5 years ago, I never would have thought I'd be at the top of my game as an athlete, that I would be owning multiple businesses, that they'd be doing well. But if you can stay in that positive mind frame, have gratitude for the good things, and not always just dwelling on it. And honestly, that negative mindset is going to be what takes so many people down. So for me, finding a way, having positive mind frame, I have my philosophy at H2G2, the have to, get to.
Explain that. I love it, because you did that at a Genius Network meeting. I thought it was great.
It's just the mindset. It's the positive talk that you have, because the language that you put out, again, will dictate the outcome. So we have a voice that we can live by every day, and you can either say, I have to with stuff, or you say, I get to. So again, I get to do this interview. You know, it's a crazy day, right? But I could have been like, oh, I have to do this interview with Joe Pollitt, which I'd never say.
No, I would hope not. I would feel my self-esteem would be crushed.
I have to pose next to his huge muscles. But
now I'm feeling pathetic if this is done.
Right. But honestly, it goes into everything from taking your kids to school. You know, I get to take my kids to school. Why? Because I have two healthy boys that are able to go to school, and I have a vehicle that I can get them to school. All the little things. I get to go to the gym versus I have to go to the gym. It's a choice. Ultimately, it's a choice, and you are healthy enough to do it. Start focusing on the good things. You know, I have to go to work. Be grateful you have a job. So if you take a second to take a step back, even if you're having a bad day, that's where I find that I utilize it the most. If my day is just throwing me a lot of things and I'm like, geez, why can it get any worse? I take 5 minutes to myself to just go, all right, focus on my mindset. What am I putting out there? What am I saying? Because the more aggravated and frustrated I get, the worse things get. My day will continue to get worse. And I've noticed that 100%.
I am yet to see you in a situation where you strikes me with incredible pressure, where you have meltdowns, or that you are just not friendly and positive and solution focused. What do you do when it becomes so overwhelming? Is it the 5 minutes? Is that it?
Honestly, it's just a matter of taking a step back. Because again, early on, when I was younger, my mom used to say, don't ever have pity parties for yourself. And there's nothing more true, right? Like, you can, in a moment, feel sorry for yourself, or you can already start working for a solution. So I noticed that about myself, you know, in college. Oh my gosh, I have these tests and these exams, and I have 2 jobs I was doing. You know what? Wow, I get to go to college, because I had some friends who couldn't, and I'm complaining about this and I'm overwhelmed. But you know what? Again, that's temporary. I'm going to sit here and complain and cry for an hour because I'm pissed off. No, I need to be studying. So it's making sure you utilize and maximizing the time to do something that's beneficial. You're either making progress or you're making excuses. And truly, I don't have time for excuses. I don't have downtime. I mean, I am go, go, go from every minute. And if I can stay positive, happy, find the good in it, my day is filled with hurdles every day. But thankfully, I have hurdles every single day. You know, honestly, like, I could be sitting at home with no job and no money and stressed to the max, just because, I don't know, whatever it is, my kids aren't healthy. So no matter what, there's always a silver lining. Sometimes it's hard to find it. Sometimes it's hard to find it. But again, I choose to be positive. And people say, how? There's some days I'm going on 2 hours of sleep. So what? Again, I can choose what environment I want to put myself in, my mindset, and as long as I'm happy, my days are okay. It's great.
Wow. Well, okay, so you are a energy generating machine, right? So there's physical, but there's also this emotional energy that you seem to have. So if someone is feeling defeated or feeling like they can't go on, you know, if in the perfect world, I would be call Whitney Jones. You know, because like literally, you're really good at that sort of stuff. Who do you lean on when you need a sounding board, when you are going through difficult times, physically, emotionally? How does that work in your life?
So I've actually, this year, I've changed something, because I noticed that, again, bad days, if I have someone to complain to, I will. But during COVID, you know, with our businesses shut down, you know, I was working from home a lot.
And you had COVID twice. I got to
Yes,
mention that. She
I
had
did.
COVID twice.
You know, even though I'm living and breathing health and fitness, I still got it. But you know, I'm okay, thankfully.
Yeah.
But during those downtimes, I'm at home by myself, you know, and it's like, oh my gosh, all these things, the gym shut down, could be bad, right? But if I didn't have someone to complain to, I moved on. And it was a very eye-opening experience to go, I am not complaining near as much, even if it was just a vent, because yes, sometimes you need to vent. What I found I do now, I don't like writing in a journal, but I like dictating through my phone and notes. So I get it out. So I vent, but I'm not bothering anyone else with my problems. And it's a quick 5 minute, because there's no dialogue.
Right.
So it's not sitting and whining. Because again, I don't want to be stuck in that negative space. So if something's really frustrating me that I can't move on, I have my own little tools that I implement. And that's one of the biggest things I've done this year. Because think about it, if you don't have someone to complain to at the moment, you just move on.
No,
and you distract yourself.
Well, it's another version of the whole misery loves company. I
Yes,
guess if you have someone to
100%.
just wallow in pain with, then it makes it interesting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about environment, because you know, one of our Genius Network members, Ben Hardy, one of his first books, he wrote Who Not How's, his recent one, and he wrote Personality Isn't Permanent, but which is also, I could say so much about that, even as it relates to you. One of his first books was Willpower Doesn't Work, and it was really about the environment. So how do you create the winning environment for you, like your home, your gym, where you spend time with? Could you speak to that?
I mean, and it kind of follows some of the same principles, because again, if you allow a toxic environment, it's just going to keep breeding and continue to build this toxic environment that nobody wants, right? So in my companies and my businesses with my kids, if they're coming home and they had a hard day at school or sports, you know, I listen to them because that's important. They're growing, and I need to teach them properly how to kind of process everything, but we don't dwell on it. So if I feed into it and I help, oh, you know, well, I don't know why they're giving you that much homework, or, you know, why is your coach yelling at you? No, I don't feed into it. I let them vent, and then we talk through it and say, well, you know, so if your coach is telling you you're doing this wrong, you're probably doing it wrong, or let's identify it, again, solution-based. In the gym, sometimes we come in during COVID, you know, once we finally opened up, there was just hard times. Families were experiencing hardship. We had some of our members who couldn't come in because they couldn't financially afford it. So there was this kind of mellow environment here in Aura that isn't normal here.
Right.
But it's like, okay, I found that to be my job to come in and just bring the energy. So people follow, right?
Yeah.
If they follow an energetic person, then the vibe changes.
Totally.
If I'm walking around, just kind of pour us, then everyone's going to follow that. So I feel it's my duty to really kind of set that tone and set that mood. And it's worked. It's worked well. I mean, a lot of people have said if I travel, they're like, it's just different at the gym when you're not there. And I don't necessarily want that, but then again, I'm like, okay, good. So what I'm doing is working.
Yeah.
So that always will help. Like, I feel like I set the tone.
Right.
And I feel like it's my job to, as a mom, as a business owner. So we have the ability to change it. If people are having a bad day, I'm not just gonna walk over, hi, you know, sometimes it just takes someone to shake you out of it and be like, all right, you made me laugh. Laughter to me is one of the biggest ways to easily change the mood. And
I agree.
You know, it's not that hard.
What's your refrigerator look like at home? When someone opens up your refrigerator, if anyone, what's in there?
Oh gosh, everything. Because again, I eat healthy, but I don't always eat healthy because that would be boring. I like to have some fun. So right now, though, I would say we've got the salad and chicken and fish, and then we've got the milk for all the cereal I like to eat. Frozen cookie dough, because that is a go-to. Oh yeah,
Really?
Cookie dough just out. Yeah.
Wow.
I love that.
I never would have known.
I know. Oh yeah, donuts, Oreos are my go-to for my little treats.
Wow.
Again, I'm working out all the
How
time.
often do you
so
eat Oreos? So really?
honestly, every day. I eat at least 2 every day.
Really?
Oh, even in prep, even show mode, yeah.
Like a day before the show.
Yes, sugar works for me. I've discovered that through my training that sugar, like today, I mean, I'm in prep right now, and I had 2 full donuts already.
Oh my God. Well, but you're burning through so
I
many
am,
calories. So,
yes.
so for the average person, we're not
For
recommending
sure.
you.
And it wasn't like this always. I've had to work to build up my metabolism,
Yeah.
and that has helped. But yeah, I mean, it's a process. Your body
Can
can.
someone get me a donut or something?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to show you my Oreo stash.
That
yeah.
is so funny.
I have huge bins.
I mean,
yes.
God, okay. So you got a whole mix. So what is the difference between healthy and unhealthy?
Extreme. You can't be extreme. Everything in moderation. So I know that sounds cliche, but again, I eat healthy for most of the day, but I do have some little treats. And I usually will, again, if I'm eating 2 donuts, I put them before and after my workout. I don't
Right.
just eat them at night right before I lay down to go to bed.
Yeah.
So it's just being strategic, but trying to just be totally hardcore and eating nothing but say chicken and broccoli, that's not sustainable in my opinion. I would never advise that for clients because at some point you're going to want to go out and go on a date or holidays and eat with the family. And it's that one day that then just triggers this downward spiral.
Wow.
So everything in moderation. But again, it also goes back to finding what works for your body. Previously, sugar did not work for my body. 10 years ago, if I ate even a carb, I was an endurance athlete before I got into this.
Yeah.
But if I ate a carb, I mean, you would see it. And so I was eating like a bird and I was this cardio bunny. Then I got back into really lifting and slowly but surely eating strategically. I've built my metabolism up where if you saw what I eat in a daily realm, especially close to show, it's so much food that it's hard sometimes to take in all the food, believe it or not.
So you literally have trained your body to metabolize what it is you eat. And so how could someone because you have such an extreme knowledge of nutrition and precision and at the level that you're at. So for a person, what would be some ways to learn about food, learn about nutrition? What do they need to, where would they start?
The biggest thing I always say is if you're having to eliminate something completely, like say 0 fats or 0 carbs, it's not sustainable. It's not going to last. There's a reason you need each of these proteins, fats, and carbs. But again, everything in moderation. So late at night, don't eat tons of food. That's where a lot of people, they don't eat all day or they'll just have like one meal and then at 6 or 7 p.m., they just eat tons. That's not usually the best route to take. Always trying to eat small meals throughout the day, making sure you get sleep, drinking at least a gallon of water a day. Those are very simple things that easily anyone could implement and their body will start changing just through consistency. And that's not even breaking down the science of, okay, what kind of foods work for your body? For example, I can eat tons of carbs, and if I eat healthy fats, my body doesn't like healthy fats. It likes fats from donuts and Oreos and stuff like that.
Really?
But if I eat nuts and avocado, my body just goes, meh.
Meaning you feel bloated or whatever?
Yeah, I get really soft. My body the skin sags. It just has some water on it. So if I want to be tight and toned, I eat lots of carbs and then I mix it with stuff like snacks that, but again, just a little bit. But I've learned that through the years because usually everyone has something that works better for them, carbs or fats. It's one or the other. So it's just kind of troubleshooting it to figure it out, but you still need some. I still have to have some. So for anyone out there that's trying to just even make a few changes, simple things. 5 meals a day, small meals throughout. Just think of your body as a machine. It's just like a car. You got to put gas in your vehicle so it can run. You have to fuel your body to lose weight, or you got to fuel it to grow as well if you're trying to put on lean muscle. But eating multiple times throughout the day keeps your body working like a machine. Drinking water, same thing, working like a machine. You have to sleep in order to allow your body to recover and rest. So again, you can drop weight, get your cortisol levels down. So those are all very simple things that anybody can do.
The people that are really stressed out, let's talk about how to have a foundation to get great exercise and nutrition and to minimize massive craving states. So that has to do with sleep, that has to do with not overworking yourself. So what are some of your rituals, morning rituals, evening rituals? Talk about how much you sleep. Any recommendations you have for people in those areas?
Again, for amount of sleep, I'm a mother, so once I had kids, my amount of sleep every night went from here, before kids, it was like, oh, I'm gonna sleep till noon. That was a long time ago, but now you function off of what you're used to, but you still need adequate sleep. 5 to 6 hours is kind of the bare minimum that people need in order to recover. If possible, I always say, you have to have those moments in the morning to yourself. So again, I have a long day every day. I've got to get my kids up, get them ready for school. I get up sometimes at 3:45 in the morning because I need at least 15, 20 minutes to myself where I'm not on my phone and replying to texts and emails and already at it. That to me has always set my days off on the wrong path.
I agree.
But just having some moments to breathe, deep breathing. Some people will meditate. Some people will go for a walk around the neighborhood. Whatever it is that you like. Sometimes it's just sitting there kind of stretching on your ground. You know, you roll out of bed and you just lay on the ground. Kind of having that routine is crucial to setting your body in a pattern to do what you want it to do. And then always you gotta eat. You gotta eat. You gotta.
Like how soon to waking up do you eat?
I'd say within an hour you need to, because your body is fasting. So at some point it's gonna need a fuel source, so it taps into the muscle.
Yeah.
If you're not eating, you're burning your muscle, and your muscle is what actually boosts your metabolism. So people think, oh, it's great, you know, I went till 10 or 12 without eating. Well, that's not necessarily.
Well, there's a ton of intermittent fasting
Yes.
right now. Now, what are your thoughts on that? Like,
I'm a little mixed. I think for a lot of people, here's what I do like about it. Some people need that to kind of kickstart them into getting into a lifestyle, this healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I'm all for that. But it goes back to being consistent. And so sometimes that's really difficult. Again, you go back to, oh, if you have kids and you're on the go and you've got to get them to this event and that event, you sometimes are not going to be able to eat later. You've got to eat now.
Right.
Intermittent fasting works if you're on schedule. Most people can't be that consistent with food because they're needing to be consistent with their jobs, their families. So that's where it's like a few days being off can totally take you back. And so again, it's kind of those extremes. My philosophy is finding something that works for each person. Intermittent fasting, again, it does work for some people. I'm yet to be sold on the fact that it works long term. And I'm always focused on long term sustainability. Like when people come to me and they want to lose weight, I don't want them to just lose the weight and hit that goal number on the scale and then be like, woo, done. No, they need to be able to maintain it. And they need to be in a good place to be able to maintain it with ease. You put in the work now, then you get there, you hit your goal, you need to be able to maintain it without having to put in as much effort that it took to get there.
Gotcha.
So that's where I don't say it's wrong. I just don't see it as being something that's long-term beneficial. And there's still, it's a newer fad that everyone's coming back to. So, you know, to me, I always say, go back to the basics. What works? Eating healthy, getting regular exercise. The basics work. A lot of times there's these fad diets because marketing.
I always like it as simple as this. I mean, if you want conditions in life, you want more money, better relationship, better body, whatever, you have to set it up a certain way. And you're not going to have the conditions that you envision that are whatever you consider awesome if the setup is all screwed up.
Yep, for sure.
So you set things up to win.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And again, everything's solution based.
Yeah.
It's not just looking at what didn't work or what's not going right. Okay, there's always a solution. You got to find it. You got to look at what's thrown your way and you've got to find a solution. Make it better. Make it better. And that goes through everything from exercise and eating and work and careers and hobbies and parenting, relationships, all of it. Everything is solution based. But I feel like too many people just sit in this negative space because sometimes that's more entertaining and people like to complain. Well, don't feed into it.
Taking that champion mindset as it relates to, you know, toxic people and what would you say to those people?
Well, the thing is, like, I can't control anyone. You know, if someone's going to be a jackass, they're going to be a jackass, and that's on them. Doesn't necessarily reflect what I've done. And again, I learned this a while ago. I can only control myself. I can only control how I respond, how I behave. What I've seen personally from years ago, as well as what I see all the time, is the problems arise when people respond to it. So someone's just being out of control, rude, whatever. Kill them with kindness. Control the way you want. Don't match that response. If you're not rude, if you're not a jackass, don't be one back. I mean, it sounds more common sense, but it's the matter of practicing it and implementing it. So again, if somebody's just giving me hell and it's like, okay, well, have a nice day, you know, we're done here. I can control that. I can put an end to it, put them away, whether it's a relationship, just remove yourself. Whether it's business, meetings, whatever. I can control how I respond, but the more you're feeding into it, it's only just fueling that fire.
Yeah.
you know, and again, escape, pull back, but it's not always easy. It's easier said than done to be like, get yourself out of those bad situations. If something's not making you feel comfortable, if something feels off, step away, reevaluate. Maybe it is you. Maybe you aren't giving something an extra chance. Maybe you're putting off a negative vibe and that's their response to it. So you have to do a lot of self-reflection. Nobody's perfect. I'm far from perfect, but being able to take a step back a lot of times in most situations that went haywire, I have to acknowledge my role in that.
Right.
And sometimes there wasn't anything different I could have done to have a better outcome, and that's fine. Accept it, move on. But you have to always be focused on the fact that you played a role, and if you can control it, great. If not, then that's on them, and just don't ever associate. At this point, I feel I'm fortunate that I get to choose who I work with.
Right.
You know, I don't have to just be, clients come to me and they're just hard to deal with, or working with different business partners and different vendors in the industry. I now get to have that privilege of saying, well, we're not going to work out together. This is not going to be a good partnership.
All right, so let's talk about your clothing company, which is Fearless.
Yes.
So is it fearless or fear? I mean, it could be said both, but what do you mean by fearless?
So the brand Fearless is fearless, because I agree. Fear is there. Everyone has fear. But does it control you? If it's controlling you, if it's controlling your decisions, if it's preventing you from taking risks or going after what you want or trying something new, that's where it's not productive. So if you're fearless, you're going to try things without worrying about the outcome. How bad? You know, unfortunately in society right now, I think people are so concerned about how they're going to be perceived or how it would look if they fail. Who cares? Like, if you really break it down, and for me, again, this happened to me, it was one of my first competitions where I was like, what if I don't go out and win? And it was like making me so nervous going into this silly competition, which again, nobody cares. I mean, people are my fans, family, they're cheering me on. Good for you, you're doing amazing, go have fun. I wasn't having fun. Well, why? Because I was worried, what if I don't win? And I thought, if I'm last place, are my kids still gonna love me? Are my friends gonna never wanna hang out with me? Is my family not gonna? No. So what am I afraid of? And it was like this light bulb, duh. So why am I afraid of this? And that really helped propel. So it, again, parlayed into so many things I did. If you literally sit and break down, and I mean write down, like if there's something that you're wanting to do but you're being held back, you're holding yourself back, take some time to write, because it doesn't work just with the thoughts.
Yeah,
I know
agree.
this personally because it's when I've done this and started practicing it, it wasn't the same. When you write it down, you start looking at your list and you're
Do
like,
you mean handwrite it or you mean type it? Or
anywhere where you're actually putting it on paper and not just thinking. And you're worried about something that is pretty dumb. So again, you're gonna start a business. What if you fail? What if you don't?
Yeah.
And do you wanna live the rest of your life going, well, what if? I had this great idea, but I never pursued it. Someone else is going to.
Right.
Someone else is after that.
Yeah.
So why can't it be you?
Yeah.
So just, again, do the research, have the proper steps to implement whatever it is you're wanting to do, but take the fear out of it. And it goes back to believing that you can succeed, believing that you deserve and you're worthy of that success. So once I started doing that, everything again was way more fun. The pressure is off. I realized nobody cares if I'm Miss Olympia or not. They really don't. I mean, think about it. Did you really know who the winners were of Miss Olympia? No. But we met and it was great. And then you learned about some of my stuff. You're like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But again, if I would have never won, we could still be here at this moment having this conversation.
Exactly.
But just, I feel like it paralyzes so many people from pursuing stuff. And I did not want to have that life. I did not want my life to be dictated by fear.
I love it. No, that's really valuable. When early on in my life, I heard this saying that whatever you fear and don't face controls you. Whatever you fear and you face, you can either control it or at least take steps to get better at it.
Yes.
Because sometimes it will take, some things are just not easy. Some things take a long time. But the biggest thing is, it's the Wayne Gretzky quote, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So.
And once you do it too, ask anyone who's really faced a fear head on, the gratification afterwards, like, the win and the victory is so much sweeter because you were so afraid, but you did it anyways. And then it's like, wow, okay. And then it propels you to feel like you can do anything. So it's those little steps. whether it's, oh my gosh, I'm going to say hi to this person that scares me, intimidates, that I like, that I think is great looking, like something as simple as a hi, and they say hi back. Wow, okay, now your confidence is boosted to go do the next thing. But just do it. What do you have to lose?
Hey, I hope you're enjoying this video, and I want to let you know that I have a new book that's come out, and if you'd like to get it absolutely free, there's a link below in the description, or you can wait till the end of this video, or you can simply go to joesfreebook.com and you can get a copy there. What would you recommend for people in terms of keeping themselves fit, not just getting in shape, losing weight, but just as a lifestyle?
So the best tip I have is you got to discover what it is you like. Is it yoga? Is it lifting? Is it martial arts? Like, see what vibes with you, where you're like, oh, that was fun. Because again, if you haven't been doing something, it's hard sometimes to get that start.
Right.
So if you're doing something you love, then it's a lot easier to stay accountable, keep it in your routine. So activity, you just gotta move. People just need to move. Even if it's something as simple as going out for a walk, fresh air, put some good music on. People go to the gym, they may not work out hard, but they're moving and the mood changes. And then, they go to the gym, oh, I don't have energy to do anything. They put a good playlist on, they get motivated by others around them, and then all of a sudden they're there for an hour working out.
Yeah.
So work on your environment, do something that you love where it excites you, it's something you look forward to. Grab friends so that, again, makes it more fun. Those are simple things that I would say that you need to do, but you got to be moving at least 5 times a week. 15 minutes, even if it's minimum. We were talking at the genocide, so Scott, and just had a brand new baby, and he's like, I'm getting no sleep, and my business just went public. Like, he's got all these things. I'm like, just do 15 minutes. You know you've got 15 minutes, even if it's at your house doing burpees, whatever. And he's like, you're right. I can't make excuses. So make sure you're just moving. 15 minutes is better than nothing.
Right.
And get those endorphins flowing. That's going to help you be more creative, going to help you be happier. It helps stress relief. So whatever it is, even if it's short term, there's always some way to get active anytime you want.
In terms of like people that have no energy, mentally, physically. I know because we're in the middle of a pandemic. You've had COVID twice. I imagine that had to wipe you out for a period of time. What did you learn from it, and how do you regroup yourself when you're literally depleted?
Well, so again, it kind of goes back to the same philosophy I have when I have injuries. Everything's temporary, right?
Yep.
You do have to take the time to heal. So when I had COVID, it was important that I rested, tried to knock it out and not push it, and not try to go on runs or get exercise in. It's like, let your body chill. But then you need to be able to flip the mindset to go, okay, I've had my time, and now I need to be grateful that I am feeling better and utilize that. Again, making sure that we are not wasting days, not wasting time, not wasting what we are lucky enough and fortunate enough to have. So I remember the first time I got COVID, it was great weather outside, and I was just down for about 6 days, hard, like out on the couch. But then I wanted to get out and go. So I'm like, I'm gonna get on my bike and go. And got about 2 miles in, and I'm like, wow, I am exhausted. And normally I can just go for a while. But it was like, okay, well, I did it. Now I'll pull back so I don't have some setback and have it like last 10, 12 days longer than it should. But I was still able to do something. Why? Because I was now able to get off the couch.
Right.
So you've got to be able, it's self-motivation. People look for motivation elsewhere all the time, and that is okay. But you can't always be looking for others for motivation. You've got to figure out what it is that makes you tick.
Yeah.
So whether it's maybe a challenge. There was one point in my life someone said, oh, you will never do well in this sport. And I was like, oh yeah? Watch me. And that drove me for a while. So what is it? Maybe it's that you have a vacation coming up and you want to get in shape. Well, that's not going to happen if you don't actually work towards getting in shape.
Right.
So if you set a goal, again, maybe it's a little competition you have with a friend so that you guys can hold each other accountable. Tap into the resources that you have to help you. If you're struggling with that, talk to people. Ask, even Google, how do you get motivated to work out? Right. There's information out there, and it just takes one bit of information that actually impacts you where you're like, oh, okay, I can do that. Remember what the 12 said, you said take what works for you, It's the same philosophy. It's different for everybody. But you've got to take the time to actually truly think about it. And people just want the answer.
Right.
The answer is different for me, for you, for everyone that's in this gym. Yeah. But you have to figure it out for yourself, and you've got to take the time to think about it. Jot it down. Again, what is it that makes you happy? Memes make me happy. Okay, well, if I'm find some exercise memes, whatever it is, if that's gonna get me out of off the couch and outside, great. But there's something that helps us tick. Yeah, everyone has it. You got to tap into that. And then work with people who can help you utilize what it is that's within you to achieve those goals.
Okay, so all this crazy shit about like hacking and different things, from infrared saunas to cold plunges to, I mean, do you do any of that stuff?
Yes, I do. So we actually, I haven't shown you, we have an ice bath back here. And as much as I hate it, because I hate being cold, Arizona winters kill me. So I'm not strong by any means. I'm a wuss, let's be honest. We call it what it is.
I was going to say that, but I was like, how do I say this to you?
It's the truth.
Yeah.
But, people talk about cryo and ice baths. Again, what works for me? I've done cryo. I had a company say, we just want to sponsor you and free cryo. I tried it 3 times. I've tried it different facilities. Does nothing for me. That's me. I have clients swear by it. Ice bath works for me. So I think, again, it goes back to
what does it do? What's the ice bath do for you? When
so after I do routine practice, I may be in there doing skills and routine for 4 hours. My body is beat, and it feels like I got hit by a truck and run over. But I get in the ice bath, 6-7 minutes, and I get out and I'm like, wow, all right, I can do this again.
Wow.
It refreshes me like no other. It takes inflammation down. With all the different injuries, it's so important for me to have that rehab. So that works. I do tons of body work. I have mobilities training that I do before I ever work out, before I do my routine practice, lift. So I have a whole regimen that I have to do to make sure I can stay healthy, body feels good. The biohacking stuff, that's still fairly new, totally intriguing. I'm in the mindset of try it.
Yep.
And if it works, or again, some of it could be placebo, but if it forces you to have an action that's more positive, who cares?
Yeah.
There's fads out there all the time.
There's a ton of shit that is placebo that works, and if it
works, it works.
Yeah.
And clients will say, I tried this. If it worked for them, I am never going to tell them no.
Right.
If it held them accountable to their goals, to their program, if it makes them happy, game on.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. But yeah, it's try these things. Why not? You're never going to know if you don't try. I tried cryo. It was a huge thing. Everyone was talking about it. Yeah, I do ice baths, and to me, that helps me. So great. I'm sticking with that.
Right. I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
So where do you see yourself 5 years, 10 years? What are some Whitney Jones goals that they're important to you? You see them in your vision, you want to accomplish them. Where are we going to see you in the future?
Well, I obviously cannot compete forever. So at some point, I will have to hang up the heels, as they say.
Right.
But I love what I do in regards to coaching. And I have been very fortunate to have so many amazing experiences in this industry that I want to help other athletes who have the desire do that. So I do a sponsorship program where I sponsor girls who want to compete in my division and don't have the money for a trainer, can't put together choreography. I fly them out here, spend days with them. I do all their training, their costume. So I love that. I love that I can give back. That's something I definitely want to grow so I can help more people, because this sport is fun. And I think it teaches discipline. It teaches people what they're capable of that maybe they didn't because someone's believing in them.
Yeah.
And financially, young people who need and want to get in this industry don't have the financial resources to do so. But anyone that's done a fitness show and steps on stage and loves performing, they are hooked. Yeah. That's what I love. I've never, ever once had a client say, I've done it, I don't love it. Literally, never once. So I want more people to get involved. I want to grow the sport. That's just something personally that makes me feel happy.
Right.
Because again, I want everyone else to have some of these crazy experiences, traveling the world, performing in Spain and Australia and Tokyo. Like, that's so cool, right? So that's one thing. I want to definitely grow my businesses. I have new products that I want to put out, a book deal. I want to get my story out there, help people transition their mind, because mindset for me is huge. And since I've personally experienced everything I talk about, just sharing it, because even putting my story out on social media, the amount of messages I get that's what I love.
Right.
I never would have thought that. And I had to, one of my sponsors, like, I'm making you do this. It was one of my injuries. And I did, and I put the story out there, and the response from people who just needed to have hope was like, I get chills. I was like, wow, I had no idea the impact of somebody going, I can't believe you had that injury and you came back and you did something that everyone said you were never going to be able to do. And they're dealing with an injury that's maybe something totally different, but they're like, I'm now going to get back up. I'm going to start doing my physical therapy. I'm going to get back out there. I'm going to get back into this hobby that I love. And it's like, wow, like just by putting my message out there. I want to do that. I want to be able to just positively impact people. That's why I got in this industry in the first place. Yeah. I worked in the corporate world and had a total career shift because I wanted to make a difference.
So how do people follow you?
My website is fitwhitjones.com. Instagram is probably the easiest way. That's where I put all my shenanigans and crazy stuff. So if you like silliness, that's absolutely me.
It's actually fabulous. It's really.
Yeah, silly tricks, whatever. Yeah. You'll see a variety of stuff.
What you do is awesome.
And so my Instagram is Whitney Jones _IFBB Pro. And then my gym is Pro Physiques here in Gilbert, Arizona. So you can always find me here. You can find me online. But I'm always approachable, you can reach out. I mean, I handle all my messages. I love to connect with people. If for some reason you message me and I don't get back to you, send it again because I will respond. I promise you that.
But any advice that you would give for high-level entrepreneurs that you've not shared already yet, to get to other peaks and levels of success?
Well, I would say in relation to this too, I would say for everyone out there listening, what is it that you want to know? If you could tap into having a day in the life of following and kind of being inspired or motivated and learning knowledge, what is it that you want to know? Because I want to give to you anything that I can, something that may not seem impressive or valuable knowledge-wise from my end, maybe is the one key thing that you need. But again, for entrepreneurs, we're a whole different mindset, right? Because we don't stop, we drive. I mean, unfortunately, we will drive ourselves into the ground sometimes. But I say you got to go back to balance. And if you're trying to like get in a healthy place, physically, mentally, get in a routine, stick to it. Just like you have all your business appointments and you will never miss those appointments, you need to carve out time for yourself. You need to set goals for yourself, even if it's, I need 15 minutes in the morning to just have peace and quiet when I wake up and have my coffee and not look at my laptop, not look at my phone, and just be in my thoughts and put out the vibe of having a productive day. Whatever it is that you are wanting to do, you gotta set a pattern. You gotta have a plan of action. And that's how you started your business. That's how everyone was successful. That's why you're part of this. But you gotta focus on you. And too many times we get such tunnel vision on our careers and businesses and taking care of everyone else. We're not taking care of ourselves.
Yeah. The thing is, we have to be fit animals. I mean, and if we're not, then you're gonna, drudgery and dragging your ass through the day is not the way to get successful. So you have a boatload of success recipes, and not just things that you do physically, but mentally. And so I'm so excited to have you sharing those with you.
Thank you. I am too. This is what I love. And just knowing what is it that people need help with, need some guidance from my industry and from my background and field. I'm always happy to share. And so having this opportunity lights my own fire because again, it's exciting to me. It's another level of something that I've wanted to achieve and just didn't have the right fit until now. And so I'm ready to dive in.
Thank you.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, I hope you found that video awesome and useful. So if you want to get a free copy of my book, I want you to click here. And if you want to watch some more videos that'll be useful and awesome, click here. Go ahead. You're over here. Do it now. Come on. Thank you. Watch them.